last bet for month 1, season 1.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
also, I just want to say, Charlie, some of your ideas are fucking terrible. Like, you can't shoot these guys with a fucking paintball or make them take a shot per frame.
Dude,
You're like,
dude, they were
fucking Terry was like,
just.
how about we make them wear the fucking toilet? And you're like, we can't give them herpes, but you're gonna give them fucking brain damage? Like, what the fuck?
Well, I was thinking because momentum has been where all the losers, they have to run like 25 feet away, and they have to run back and forth 4 times, and if they get hit, they get hit.
No.
So once again, I was just putting out things to soundboard. I wasn't saying those were the
I
things.
just thought it was
Okay,
funny.
yeah.
You're like, yeah, we can't give anybody a herpes, but you're fucking giving them brain damage or alcohol poisoning. Like,
Well,
what the
no,
fuck?
I
they'd
thought I
have
had some
they'd have a
really good
helmet
ones.
on.
I gotta look through the punishments.
I
haven't seen
actually
it.
thought I had. I think
didn't
the
read
best
through.
one was play an instrument you don't know in public and make a certain amount of money. That'd be so fucking funny. Because imagine guys trying to play guitar and they don't know what the fuck they're doing, and you're walking by like, who is this fucking retard? Like,
However, I went through all of Bigaman's website and I looked at all the things because it would be great to like tie in Bigaman's
Yeah.
more.
yeah.
So I was like, I came up with like 8 or 9 for them, and then there's still like 4 or 5 that I like go in a canoe. Like I just put it there like they have canoe services, but
We should
There-
just have them be. We have to do those things because we're all afraid of heights.
yeah, well, they have rock climbing and the rope scores.
So then there you go.
Dude, getting my ass into a fucking sling to go up a rock. I haven't climbed a mountain like a rock climbing mountain in probably
I'd
like
watched
12
that
years.
on repeat.
Dude, you just
Early
want to
to
see
it.
my ass in the fucking sling. That's all.
The one thing, like, I don't understand the music industry like at all. I don't know if you guys like really understand the music industry. Why don't artists just like own their music? Like, what the fuck? I don't get it.
Yeah, so it's because like when they they sign their entry level contract or like they just finally signed with a label, there's so much in a contract that obviously goes towards like the label to like recoup their costs, like based on how successful or popular they are, like
Yeah.
right from the get go. But they're extremely predatory, and like there's been a lot that's come to light over the last like 5 to 10 years, because it'll be like we'll give you like a $500,000 signing bonus, and we'll pay for all your tour and everything like that. But what they have to do is like they'll pay for the trucks, the system, the roadies, all that
music
stuff.
videos, everything.
And your tour has to pay down all of the costs first. And then they take their 80 or 90% of the revenue from the net revenue of that. And then the artist will get maybe 5 or 10% from like your ticket sales and whatever else. Like most artists do not make their money back like until kind of like after year 7, year 8, or when like, they get more popular and they can like do a new contract. So it's very, very predatory.
Is that why like I saw a girl crying on the internet about Taylor Swift getting her music back, and I'm like, A, like grow the fuck up, and B, like I didn't understand how that was even like a conversation. Like someone like stole the music from her house, like they
Right.
have all of her CDs.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, her original label had the rights to her first 6
Yeah,
records.
six
so she
albums.
wasn't making a cent off it. And I think a lot of them get like a 12% is what your royalties are in that regards. And from there, for 6 albums, and Taylor Swift is the biggest artist in the world, arguably. So think of the money you're not making from that, which now you are. She had to record one of her albums because she wasn't getting shit.
Yeah,
on
she
it.
like retaped like some of her masters
Yeah.
so that they would be under her new label, because her last label sold all of those albums for I think a little bit more than $1 billion, which is just wild. So for her to reacquire these 6 masters back and have that all back in like in her control, because Scooter Braun was like her agent and like part of the label.
Yeah.
And so he controlled all that. He sold that originally and had that. So there's been a lot of beef between Taylor Swift and Scooter Braun.
Wasn't he the one who owned Justin Bieber stuff too?
Yeah,
Like, I think Bieber and him
he was
have
part of 100
a beef.
Thieves with Nate Shot and all
Jesus.
that. And there's been beef between like he just exited, I think, from 100 Thieves like maybe a year ago. So like he's been in the light a lot the last like 3, 4, 5 years.
Taylor Swift more so. You guys hear about what's going on in like the Massachusetts area?
No,
There's like a serial killer on the loose,
Jesus.
and a bunch of bodies have been found within like a couple football fields of Taylor Swift's house,
That's crazy.
right? So it's like, oh, Swifty, what are you up to over there?
It's kind of like the whole Garth Brooks and Tom Segura thing. He's like,
Yeah.
where's
Oh
the
my
bodies
God.
at, G?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's
Yeah.
the bodies?
That's
Tom
so
kind of like
funny.
ruined him, eh?
Oh,
Oh, man.
he cannot go a post
No.
on any platform
Nope.
where there's thousands of people be like, "Where are you hiding the bodies?"
Yeah,
G?"
where's
You
the
can't really go
bodies?
out in public without it now. But speaking of, things not going people's ways, no winners again on Sofa Kings, guys. Welcome back to the episode. None of our parlays hit, and I don't know, kind of surprised. They weren't giant legs. We had a 7-legger this
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Like,
Okay. Can
not
I just
12.
say, Caitlin Clark, you fucking unseasoned chicken piece of shit bitch. I'm so fucking mad at her,
Jesus.
dude. God damn it. Her being injured.
That's
Yeah.
not her
That's
fault.
her
She's been
fault, dude.
targeted for the last
I
2
don't
years,
care.
Terry.
I don't care,
It's
dude.
not her fault.
I'm Team Angel Reese now, dude.
Minus-
Fuck her.
God.
minus 680 kind of crushing more than one of us was bad.
Yeah.
It's my only real true loser of the week. And I look at that and I'm starting to go through the week and I'm like, Scotty, are you going to screw up? Scotty doesn't screw up, though. Scotty manages to pull through another one to get me another win on the card.
Dude, you're riding Scotty Scheffler's fucking coattails right now.
I am, and it's one of those situations where it's not been done on purpose. It's just because of like the trying to use the heart of the cards to figure out what I have to bet each week. And I've been forced into situations where golf was a play, and taking the Scotty on a whatever day of the week seems to be fine.
This is crazy.
Yeah, it's and once again, like, I don't know if other Kings feel this, and I know we're missing poor Rahil here, that's unfortunately in New York on a business trip right now. But yeah, like, I don't know how the other guys feel, but I'm still a little sore about you picking Scotty Scheffler. The tournament already started on Thursday, and once again, like, there's no like crazy leaderboard or anything. I don't know. I just don't like it. I get the play. I get the loophole. Makes a lot of sense. I would probably do it myself too if I was smarter.
It's not even a loophole, though. I mean, it's just like we trying to avoid some of the live stuff, but with golf, I feel like golf is different than betting like an NBA game live.
Well, I was going to say, do we make the rule going forward no events that have already started? You
Yeah, 'cause-
wait until...
Because, like, what happens if, like, let's say, like, for instance, like, NHL's tomorrow, or I think NBA's tonight, or whatever.
Mhm.
And so, like, if it's still first quarter and it's 0-0, or first inning or first period or whatever, and it's 0-0, like, can you still legitimately take that bet? Because there was times where I was over there, especially in the last episode, where there was, like, a game that was 0-0, it's like tied in
Yeah.
the third inning
Yeah.
of a Major League Baseball game. And I'm like, I can't do it because it's just, I don't know, it just feels weird.
I feel like golf fits in a different category with that, though. And I also, it'd be different if I had to like try to sneak in Scotty top 5.
Right.
But Scotty to win the entire tournament on the day of the week we filmed it on. Like, I don't think that's not that crazy, especially when we have situations where we're not going to have a lot of sports to look through.
Right.
Yeah, it's
And rather
true.
than us picking like, hey, underwater basket weaving this week.
That's
like,
right.
We got to leave golf as an available option depending on when the tournament starts.
Right.
Hey, I took cricket and nailed with my
I didn't know what
England.
was going on. I checked your thing.
So-
I'm like, I don't understand the
Yeah,
scoring.
that's wild.
Okay.
So what was the score?
Okay, so I was hanging out with my girl, and
Right.
I'm like checking the score, and she's from Bangladesh, and she was telling me like, oh, West Indies are actually like a pretty decent team. I was like, what the fuck do you know?
What are
about
the West
this?
Indies?
Yeah, what is that?
So you're
Like,
saying that your
honestly,
girlfriend bets better than you do right now?
probably.
All right.
But so yeah, fucking West Indies were up 308 to 34. I was like, I need 300 points from England. This is
Right.
insane. And then England just it gets 300 points, I guess. Like that's an easy thing to
Right.
do.
Just dominates
It's
coming
like,
back.
I don't fucking know.
That's a sport I don't need to learn. Like, I respect the athletes, but like, I don't need that in
Yeah,
my life.
no,
That's
no,
just,
it's
and
too
it's one
much.
thing that I don't know we'll ever probably catch on a lot here. Is
Yep.
Yeah.
that game? And it's like for example, highlight or one of those like really fringe sports. I'm just looking at that and I'm like, I understand why some cultures like that might be their thing, but there's sports that are so much easier and more fun to watch.
Right.
Pure like hockey, for example. Like people in Europe watching like highlight over hockey, I'm looking alone like, why do that? Table tennis, much easier to understand.
Right.
Like, there's
Mhm.
the ease to get into some of the other sports versus like what some other countries want to watch. I understand hockey might be very confusing to somebody from another continent, but
True. And even
It's-
just the barrier of entry to hockey too is
yeah. But highlight and like some of these other sports, it's just like, what the fuck?
See, like I do like the novelty bets and like the weird bets. Like there's another group that I've just kind of started watching over the last week, and I think they're called Stadium Live. And so like they work with like that bet, and it's like a group of 2 or usually sometimes 4 guys, and they'll make like the most obscure fucking bets. And you know it's not like their money; they're playing with
Yeah.
house money, right? And so like they're betting like 100,000 of like that house
Oh,
money
Jesus.
on it. but they're like betting like Scotty Scheffler to cry after receiving his trophy.
Yep.
Or like it was Angel Reese to smile during the game. Right? So just like
I'm taking
weird,
the under
crazy
on that
shit.
one.
So they're literally trying to watch for like the cameraman to like pan to like certain people for like weird, obscure shit. And it's actually pretty entertaining.
Yeah, the novelty markets, got lucky with a few of the hockey ones, though, because we talked about Jonathan Taves. That market is now available with teams populated rather than him just playing, period. And I looked through again. I probably look every single day just to see if they fucked up and forgotten one of these fringe ones. They're picking one, like, they're going to do the Canadian version of Jersey Shore up here, and they're like, where are they going to film it? And I go, that seems like one where I could dig up the info on that.
Right. Thousand Islands.
Yeah, exactly. Like, or Wasaga Beach or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I could find someone that's working on that show and be like, where are you guys going to film? And it's not going to be like asking an athlete. Like,
right.
And I did this, and I feel bad. One of my fraternity brothers I reached out to, and I said, hey, when you were with the 49ers, do you know what the favorite color of Gatorade was? And he responds with, no, I don't. Good luck with your bet. So, like,
great.
Damn.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people that are picking the props on the color of the Gatorade that's going to get dumped on the coach, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And most people were picking like, original orange or yellow, and then it ended up being, I think, purple.
I don't remember at this point. All I remember is I had bets for one of the shows I used to do. I had a pile of my bets were attached to that one year.
Right.
I can't remember if it was this past year. No, it was the year previous to that. I remember I lost my cappers contest based on the Gatorade color, which was a real kick in the ass. But I went through this year and was doing research on like Getty Images to try and find pictures of players holding cups and like what colors were in the Gatorade fridges in like the locker room and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I did like hours of
Interesting.
research into it. Neither of my options, I believe, hit yet again. So I'm 0-2.
I spent hours looking at Gatorade and still
I'm
failed.
0-2 on that one.
Yeah. But I'm pretty fucking thirsty right now after an hour of looking.
Yeah, I'm thirsty right now. I'm still recovering from being sick. But my buddy Bill has people who will gain that information from the stadium to find out what that is.
So do you think that's something like that a team, because like they know there's prop bets and stuff that are on this?
Yes.
Like would they also have that in secret and locked away, or people that can't see
I don't
shit?
think it's locked away necessarily, but I think like they do have security in place to like not allow a pile of people. And then obviously like the trainer can't reveal said information. That would give him a lot of trouble.
Right.
I think they're more fearful. And the sportsbooks now can tell where you're betting from. So if you're betting from in the stadium, like 6 hours before the game, they're going to go, well, only certain people can be in here. But a security guy, doing his thing, can look at something and send a text, and then sports bettors can go in and do what they want with that information.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was a while where the coin for the Super Bowl was off-weighted because it had a big insignia on the one side.
Right.
So it wasn't 50-50. It was slightly off.
Right.
And people were betting that for the longest time, and then that got out in the NFL. Made sure to correct a coin that is perfectly flat on either side. So those novelty stuff is just, everyone is constantly looking. If you're not cheating, you're not trying with that stuff.
Yeah, I think it's in our future, because obviously we're heading into like season 2 and more crazier. Like we've already had some pretty crazy bets in like our first 8 episodes and like first 4 weeks. I would say like the challenge cards and even the parlay cards and just like some of the handshake bets that we're gonna start moving forward in the summer and like before the next major season start. We're gonna have some pretty crazy shit to pick from, in the coming months here between all of us.
Yeah. We got NFL when that happens. There's so many.
There's so much.
So many in the NFL. And then you can even, with props, get so insane in the NFL with the alt markets on stuff. I remember, like, I was trying to find the premium half-catch receiver every single week.
Right.
To try and find that motherfucker like I did in the Super Bowl when the 49ers were in there with Kyle Juszczyk. And I loaded everything. I had 8 units on Kyle Juszczyk, which is insane for me to have on one player. I bet him every single way possible because they had rushing and receiving. They had his receiving yards were half a yard. His reception was half a yard. And I called the play he was going to get thrown the ball to, and it happened like in the first quarter.
Right. And
that's been my go-to. Is like betting against certain guys to get catches. Like I believe it was Mecole Hardman. I was betting him like no receptions, and for that bet to hit, if he has to touch the field at some point. He had like 2 special team snaps.
Yeah.
And that cashed my bet. So if we get really into it and we have to say we have a week where we have to bet on guys not to have a single catch, or like you have to bet like only players who have under 10 receptions so far in the year. Like cool stuff like that could really make the game spicy.
Now, while you're just talking about it, that just kind of reminded me because the CFL just launched this week or last week?
No, opening weekends, I believe this weekend. I'm going to see the Red Blacks next Friday.
Okay.
in Ottawa. I'm excited for the CFL to come back. They need more hype, and I think they need to adapt a little bit. The teams have been putting more effort in. Like, a few of them in Ontario are talking to me about going to games and, like, trying to do more. But it's like, with the UFL, they are taking a lot of the talent, and then you've got the NFL product being more desirable by fans. The CFL does have to make more of an effort to adapt to try and gain the new fan base, because there's a lot of people that didn't know, like, this is CFL week is now. Like,
exactly.
Terry, have you been to a CFL game before?
Maybe a Ticats game years ago when I was a young lad, but nothing in recent memory, to be honest.
That would be the closest team to you is Hamilton, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, what, 25 minutes or something?
45-ish from Niagara.
Okay. Yeah, and they're also, I don't know if you guys caught, but they're favoring the Argos to win again this year. So I don't know if you guys noticed that on the odds makers, but they're favoring the Argos to take it again this year.
Yeah, I mean, last year it was the Jonas Brothers were a nice touch in the Grey Cup, and the game wasn't competitive though. That was the problem.
Yeah.
It was a blowout again, right? So, I'm hoping they start to, like, they just gotta, like, get a bunch of young, and with any of these things, get a fucking bunch of young people in there, and you'll start to figure stuff out. And I know with betting, they're hoping betting really opens it up, because people in the summertime that don't want to bet on the MLS, and there's a lot of people that just don't enjoy baseball too. So, like, they're hoping they can grab those people, but.
Yeah. So one, and I know I'm the oldest on the Sofa Kings sports show here. Yeah,
I wouldn't have guessed.
I look a little bit younger than I am. At least I hope so. But I don't know if you guys remember, but do you guys remember when John Candy and Wayne Gretzky used to be principal owners of the Argonauts way back in the day of the 90s?
I knew that was a fact. That's a good, like, trivia thing, but I probably was still in my dad's balls at that point.
So it's just like, you know, as much as, like, you know, the Call of Duty championships are coming here, and, you know, there's been franchising that's happened with Call of Duty. One of the main things that I remember when, like, we were meeting Joanna Ferries, which was, like, the director of Call of Duty at the time. This is years ago, you know, with Lazarus Esports. You know, we went there, and they were mandatory that you had to have, like, a big name ticket at the top of, like, your pyramid scheme in a sense. And she literally drew a pyramid on a sheet of paper in front of my president and I, and like, I feel like, you know, and that's I kind of bring this back to John Candy and Wayne Gretzky. Like, I feel like there's an identity crisis that's also happening with the league, and as much as we've trashed the NHL and their marketing department and their promotions, like, hell, right now, even during the Memorial Cup, which just finished last night, like, I'm seeing consistent ads where I've never seen it before for CHL, OHL, WHL, QMJHL. That's running on multiple channels during the last couple of weeks, which I've never seen before during the Memorial Cup. So props to, like, them and the CHL to trying to, like, you know, bolster up the marketing.
Yeah, for sure.
But I just really feel, to tie this back into the CFL, like, this is a consistent problem. They don't have an identity. They're trying to get younger, but, like, it's this older generation that's still watching them, still following. They're not. I really feel like they're not putting something in place to, like, you know, have these markets and these teams excel, or even get to the opportunity where you can possibly have expansion.
Yeah.
But what do you do that makes the game more exciting to watch from the outside?
Right, but like, why? But
I was gonna say change 3 downs would probably be the first thing you do.
Yeah, but like, why isn't this a discussion? Why isn't there, like, major, like, they know their attendance is down, they know their viewership is down, they know operating costs are going down. Yeah, you might still have, like, talent or, like, retired players or players that aren't in the NFL that are making their way up, like a Johnny Manziel or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And they've even talked about, like, the Argos were saying Shadur Sanders, which obviously dropped heavily in the draft for the NHL this year, or NFL this year. You know, they put them on their trade list, which is, I don't know why they called it a trade list. But I just feel like I don't think it's a talent issue. I really feel like it's the association and the ownership. And, like, what are you doing to try to get this younger? How are you trying to get views?
Yeah.
And they haven't had an answer for more than 10 years.
I got an answer for you right now. It's trying, and some of the teams are doing it actively, but they need people much larger than I. They have to integrate with people who pay attention to people now. You have guys like, I know they're not going to get Kai Cenat to show up to a game.
Yeah.
But those are the people they have to start integrating with. They have to have more. Like the OHL, for example, like the OHL did stuff and was posting with me this year. 5 years ago, that sure as fuck is not going to happen.
Right.
So they're making an active effort to invite people to go to their games and consume stuff and say, whatever you need, just let us know. So that's why the OHL and the CHL has made that big jump. And they're also they're much more marketable because I think there's just more of an interest in that product. But the way you get interest is you can buy it if you want to. You
Yeah.
can buy interest, and that's by using influencers to promote your product.
Yeah. So like Terry, like if you were the owner of a team, like what would be like one thing that you would do? Would you try to? Because like whatever you're doing now will have dividends 3, 4, 5 years from now, right? So it's not
Yeah.
going to be an instant thing.
No.
But what's something that you would do if you were the owner of a team or whatever to like try to get asses in seats or people to fucking watch?
I mean, lower concession prices all around is an easy. If you can make it affordable to go out, people are going to want to go out.
But are the tickets like $10, $15, $25?
They're
Like it's cheaper than a ball game at the
For
Jays.
sure, for sure.
$500 at the Jays is probably more cheaper than the
30
CFL game.
$30 at the Jays.
Yeah, Jays.
I just bought 500 tickets, to be honest.
Yeah, so you're
$32.
probably pretty close in pricing and stuff.
Right.
Mhm.
The way, and like it's also what's around these places. So like for example, the Argos, there's just like their TFC has a better.
Where is their arena?
They play at BMO.
Really?
right at BMO,
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, and like so like TFC kind of owns that, and that's
Yeah.
like their
Yeah.
thing. And MLSE doesn't prioritize it, obviously.
No,
So
no.
the Argos kind of like it's just a tough look for them. Hamilton, I mean, nice facility, got to give them that.
Yeah.
Area not the best, but fans still show up and watch them.
Right.
Mhm.
It's more so like not the fans showing up to the games because they can draw. It's the
The outer.
it's the outer pieces.
Yeah.
Social media can always be better across all of the stuff, but they have to do a better job storytelling, and I think that's kind of what it comes down to is like the best leagues storytell really well. The story that the OHL always sells is like rising stars and stuff and draft stock and all of these things. Memorial Cup final obviously last night was a bit of a fucking beating, 4-1. Easton Cowan gets some awards and stuff. It was great to see. I enjoyed that aspect of it, but the game was a tough watch. London's goalie stood on his head. Elliott had a great game. But like I was invested in that. The CFL, they need to focus more on also like developing players to go to the NFL rather than like being their own standalone product.
Just like always consider yourself a farm team.
Yeah, exactly. And I think maybe they could do better with that. And the UFL has kind of tried to take that approach and has grabbed names where you're seeing like backup quarterbacks or like second to third round, fourth round draft picks in the NFL that end up there. If AJ McCarron came up and played in the CFL, I think that would have been a huge, like that's huge.
That would have been a nice push.
Yeah, so like when they were talking to The Rock about partnering with the XFL back then,
Yep.
I wonder if it came down to like, hey, we don't want to change our game, but like eventually you're going to be forced to change your entire business, and it might be too late. So I would probably lean on the side of like rapid adaptation, and the fans that are going to be pissy aren't the fans you aren't going to have in 10 years because those people will be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
and like the two things that I think I would do is like one, like obviously understand your market. Like who's a big name that's come from Edmonton or Calgary or BC or Montreal or whatever, and have this individual as, and whether you do kind of like a Drake situation where he's an ambassador or whatever,
Yeah.
and he has options or shares in MLSE and all that shit, but he's part of games, he does a concert, whatever the fuck, right? Like I don't know why, and I get like The Rock, for example, like he's done his stuff with the XFL and he's been involved in all that, and he does stuff for Canadians all the time. But like, why isn't there a principal, unique individual at each organization? And then also, I think one of the biggest issues, and especially right here in our hometown, and what Doug Ford should be doing, why the fuck is there not tailgating?
Yeah.
Like
Okay,
this
yeah.
is how you build community.
Mhm.
If you can't buy a ticket, you're there. I'm speaking to the audience right now, and I'm speaking to the goddamn CFL. If you don't have tailgating and you can't figure this out with your province or just overall Canadian government, this is an issue for all sports teams, not just the CFL. Build your community where you have grandfathers and fathers and sons and daughters and the whole family coming out. People making pizzas and hot dogs and burgers and ribs and having this whole community centered around, food and fashion and entertainment and, throwing the ball around and having a great time. Like this is an all-day event that builds, revenue for your city. It obviously, gets more people interested, creates stories. I don't know why the fuck this isn't happening right now.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Yeah. No, I agree with that one.
You brought up Drake, though. So are the Raptors in a position to make some noise? Because I heard trade rumors or like mutual interests and stuff.
Yeah, have you caught any of this, Terry?
I heard that they're interested in, who's it, the Greek Freak?
Yeah.
I did see that, actually.
So like I would say like over the last 2 weeks, and like even to the point where like, Woj, which is like the quintessential like Darren Dreger of the NHL, but for the NBA.
Okay.
And I think he like retired just this past season as well, but he's still coming out with Woj bombs as well. And so he even came out and I think did a video yesterday or even this morning, and he was like, there is significant like steam right now that's going on, that Toronto is pressing multiple teams and multiple players for this offseason to pick a fucking heavy hitter. And so you have like Giannis out there. Who else is I heard Trae Young as well, which is like a crazier thing. Jamal Murray, like, and for us being, Kitchener, Ontario boys, I've worked with Jamal's dad and his foundation with Lazarus, and we did this whole huge NBA event in Arizona. But having Jamal Murray come back to Ontario and play for, his home city, essentially, that would be talked about for years to come. And if they win, just kind of like when they brought in Kawhi Leonard, the last time, and obviously won, he would be immortalized in Canada.
Or even more so, I would think, just being a Canadian guy.
Yeah.
And I know, like, there's a huge Greek community in Toronto. So, like, Greek players, Italian players. Like, TFC is able to recruit these Italian guys because the most amount of Italians outside of Italy are in Toronto.
Yep.
You can go there, have a great time. You can feel like a little bit at home, which I know a lot of the European basketball players kind of, that's like a big thorn for them.
Right.
Any guy, and we've talked about this repeatedly, you want to play at home. Like, I don't understand any player who would not want to play in their hometown. Like, living your childhood dream, regardless of like the negative baggage that might come with it. Like, fuck, get after it, man. That's got to be
the
the
only
move.
thing to that is Toronto media sucks so much in every aspect.
Yeah,
so it's
you're,
like
you're getting paid more than $20 million a year.
Yeah, but if you have a choice, like as a non-Toronto fan myself speaking, I wouldn't want to play in Toronto personally.
Yeah, but it's a difference if you're like saying I want to bring you to Toronto and you have nothing to build around, as to where Toronto's right now. Like right now, they're the mid in the pack. They've obviously won before.
Yeah.
So they have the recipe. They have that secret sauce. They know what they're fucking doing. And now they're understanding like, hey, we're closer to our cap. We're closer to our luxury tax. Yeah, we've got to ship out some contracts, like maybe RJ Barrett or Brandon Ingram, right? So like Grady Dick, like they have all of their firsts and seconds right now for every year moving forward. So they have tons of capital. They have assets. They have great players on the field, both starters or on the bench, that they can easily ship out. Like, I really feel like they understand, like, who's our competition really in the East, right? Like, yes, you have, the Knicks. Like, they've had a resurgence. Are they going to copycat, to next year and maybe be contender? I don't know. Right. So like, is this going to be, do you have, what is it, OKC's in the East as well? So Oklahoma City, because they're playing Indiana. Indiana's on the West?
I would think so.
Basketball, I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I always get those two.
I'm just going based off of geography here.
But like, there's really like 2, maybe 3 teams that you've got to kind of contend. So you can easily get into the playoffs. If you get home court advantage, you're doing even better. So, like, they have the talent and the resources and assets to be able to go out and get Giannis or anybody else right now and obviously put themselves in a very good position to contend next year.
Well, MLC is in a different position now, too, because they don't have as many people there's no less checks and balances because it's just Rogers.
Yeah.
Or mostly.
Yeah.
Mostly just Rogers. I know there's the hangers-on still. So that allows them to leverage to not have to okay things through Bell, which I'm assuming allows them to probably get a little bit more done faster. I think, Toronto, they have to look at the money-making part of it. And we were just talking about the Argos not really having much going on. And I know TFC doesn't make a shit ton of money either. It actually might be a loser for them still at this rate. But you have to have 1 or 2 of those going.
Yep.
The Raptors being, like, lukewarm doesn't support enough.
Yep.
They kind of have to have the Leafs and the Raptors cooking to offset all of the additional pieces. I'm still waiting to hear about the Toronto Marlies moving to Hamilton, because I was very confident about that. You got the tempo moving into Toronto now.
Right, that's right.
So you're going to have another team to take people's attention away, which means I would think, yes, they're going to get a different demographic and stuff, but you have to continue to sell tickets, and they have their G League team. And where's the G League team? The 905, right?
Yeah.
Wherever they are. Like, again, you have to have competitiveness to pay for all of these things, or when new things are coming into your market, you have to have a good team.
And you also have the Toronto Scepters.
And they're doing fantastic.
Right, they're
doing great.
They need a bigger arena, which sucks. There isn't a medium-sized for them to work through and then fill up and move on to
So
Scotia.
they just moved to Coca-Cola Coliseum, did they not?
Yeah.
And they still sold that
They
out?
sold that out.
Yeah.
I looked at
Wow.
tickets. It was $175 for standing room.
Yeah.
That's
Or sorry, it
cool.
was $175 for an actual seat, and it was $75 for standing room. Yeah.
Good for them.
And the reason why that league's success is the girls are incredibly marketable. They're out there, their personalities. A lot of them are also just they know the opportunity in front of them, and they're taking a huge advantage of it.
Right.
Look at all the money Sarah Nurse makes from endorsement deals.
Oh yeah.
You look at the success the girls have on socials from just posting content
Yep.
and stuff.
Yep.
Very accessible. You feel like you're a part of the team. You don't feel like you're a part of the team with the Toronto Maple Leafs aside from your regular old fandom. With the PWHL, like you're like all the way in there. It's impressive what they've done.
Yeah, it's and I'd love to get your take on this, but there's been an amazing catalyst or nexus that's happened for female and women's sports really in the last 5 years. From the PWHL to the WNBA, to what's even happening in softball. Like even the MLB just announced, I think just a day or two ago, that they've done a strategic investment for AUSL, which is the Athletes Unlimited Softball League, which I think just kicks off in July. So like they're launching their season and games in Illinois and Kansas, and like you're really starting to see how the male dominated leagues are strategically supporting female leagues.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they're not, they're getting investment right now. They're getting viewership. They're getting eyeballs. You're starting to see women that are really at the height of their game and like transforming the viewers. Like look at Caitlin Clark and what she's doing.
Yeah.
Right. Or Sarah Nurse and everything that she's bringing to the league. And it's all the work that these women have put in for decades. Right. And I really feel right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, that these are leagues and players that are finally getting the dues. Yeah, their salaries aren't where they need to be right now. They're not.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting a higher revenue share than even men's leagues.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they're obviously not pulling in the same revenue that men are. So it's kind of like comparable or incomparable. But it's been impressive to see what's happening in women's sports these days. Would you guys agree?
No, absolutely. I think it's one of those rising tides raise all ships.
Mhm.
The better one sport does, the more we're going to see it rise others. So WNBA started taking off, then PWHL starts taking off. You get those, and it gives like the female athletes a place to go. I used to work with a girl who made it to the highest form of lacrosse that she could play.
Right.
She's working in a call center because it was
Yeah.
like, I can't do anything with this.
Yeah.
I'm the best at lacrosse in Canada, but I can't do anything. So it's like,
Yeah, and that detracts away from their training, their development. Their focus on social media to lift up their brand, their personal brand, or their team's brand, or whatever, or even the league, right? So I think it's just I have two daughters, one being 15, another being 5, and so I wish my oldest daughter was able to kind of see this rise over the last 5 years, than already being 15 and kind of understanding what she's good at or not already.
yeah.
But for my youngest daughter, it's impressive to see that now she can watch. These games, they're accessible on TV. You can find media and content when she's scrolling through TikTok or YouTube Shorts or whatever. She's seeing these things every single day now, and it's having a positive effect on what she thinks she can and cannot do.
Yeah,
and
100.
it's there's nothing more that I can say that is such a positive light for young women and seeing this happen and this rise right now.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of a not positive light, we have to touch on the Maycee Barber thing from the UFC fight.
That's wild.
And I end up with a voided bet because she missed weight. We looked at it and I thought, hey, I'll bet against her. Like she's probably gonna get smoked. And then we look at it just the next day and she has a seizure and then she can't fight.
Yep.
And Erin Blanchfield,
Man, what
not
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So did you watch the weigh-ins and all that stuff, and then watch the fights this past Saturday?
I didn't see the weigh-ins, but I was watching the fights, and then you're sitting there watching the broadcast, and it's like, what's going on?
Mhm.
And then they come out and they're like, Maycee Barber is not going to be making the walk, and immediately you're like, oh, okay. Like, I hope.
So is this happening live, Terry?
Yeah. And then so you're kind of like, oh, I hope she's okay. And then they do Megan O'Leary and Erin Blanchfield interview in the back, and Erin, right off the hop, drops that Hunter Campbell came to my room and was like, Maycee had a seizure, she's not going to fight tonight. And at first, it was a good interview from Megan O'Leary, but you get the sense that she's upset, right? She's ready to fight. You've been training for how many months at this point, ready to go, and your opponent misses weight. So already you're pissed off at her, and then She pulls out moments before the fight. So you're upset. I understand that, but the way she attacked her in the post-fight press conference was like, have some respect. That's just not a good look.
She basically said like her life's a mess, or like she's a mess. Her life's a mess. Like she's needs to get it together, and like ripping into her. And then Maycee has to come out and say like, hey, like my life's not a mess. Like, sorry guys, like I had a seizure.
Yeah.
Like, I tried to, be a professional and stuff, but like Maycee didn't pull herself out of the fight. She literally had a seizure and could not fight.
Right.
So like, it's a big egg on your face type thing if if Erin Blanchfield has any weight related issues going forward now, because she could say like, hey, yeah, like this was unprofessional and leave it at that, and no one would be like, yeah, you know what, we get it. She still gets she gets paid. She gets
she got win and show.
Yeah, so like she gets her money.
Yeah.
To make like the personal attack at it is like not great, because she didn't know if Maycee could have a seizure and you could find out that like, yeah, she's really fucked up now and it wasn't related to her weight cut, and then you're just an asshole.
Right.
So
like you just don't do that.
I think that's something that you see more in individual sports than you see in team sports, where a person is going to trash someone for something like that. Where if you look at hockey, someone gets injured, you're like, man, Zach Hyman got hurt. Florida players are like, I hope this guy's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously we enjoy not playing against him because he's a great player, but you don't want a guy to get hurt. Where in her situation, she's like actively shit-talking her, being like, oh, look at this girl, she's unprofessional. It's like, you should be saying, hey, I hope she gets better. Let's run this back when you're healthy. I'm ready to I'll be ready to whoop your ass whenever type thing, right?
So it was, and I don't know, so forgive me, but like, has she ever had something, like, do we know that she does have like a seizure history? Has she ever had like a situation where there's been a controversy where she's used that to her advantage or disadvantage? Like, has there been any of that in her reputation or credibility, guys?
She missed weight a few times.
I was going to say
or at
weight.
least once.
I think weight, yes, but seizures, I don't think that I've heard of any history of that personally.
She had some medical issues, but like she wasn't using that as a crutch at all. Like, so it's like it was weird for Erin Blanchfield to do it, honestly.
Yes.
Like, I think you'll probably see, like, she kind of put a target on her back now, which in that situation, all she has to say is like, yeah, it's unprofessional for someone not to make weight. I'm disappointed I'm not fighting. And then everyone's like, yeah, fuck Maycee Barber. Instead, like, people are kind of like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Exactly. Now it's turned and it's like, fuck you, Erin. Like, you're a
You're a dickhead.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you guys might know, because like I've seen where there's been on the men's side where they've missed weight and then they give them like an extra clock. I don't know if it's 2 or 3 or 5 hours.
2 hours, I believe.
They think it depends state to state.
Right. Yeah. And I've seen them where they literally like are working out in like the sauna in the sweatsuits and like trying to drop the last like 1 or 2 pounds and they're almost dying. But like, so I would assume that's the same concessions that would be given to the women. So like, was she just like, has she been wildly out of weight and like just missed?
No,
or
she
just
didn't. She didn't miss by that much.
She didn't miss by much. She's too thick for 125 probably. She's probably like a 130 excellent, like that's my perfect weight class because of her frame, which gives her such a size, like a power advantage because of the size of her legs.
Right.
She can really torque and get that pressure in there. It's just harder to cut weight, and also with girls too, like she could be on her fucking period and then she can't. It's really hard to cut weight.
But see, like I know that when women aggressively train and like there's more times than not where their cycle and it seems crazy that I'm talking about this.
Yeah.
But I know this just from even my oldest daughter. Like you'll miss like your cycle and you'll miss like your period, and there's many months where it won't come back.
Yeah, like you can have issues with, and that's what fighters have discussed. Is they're like weight cuts are really hard for women. It's not like a men where like a girl says like, hey, I have to stop cutting, and it's like 1.5 pounds, and people are like, don't be a pussy. Yeah. It's like that 1.5 pounds will not come, but for a guy, he could probably cut another 4.
Right.
So it's one of those situations where it's like tough, and I try to be fair with the girls. It's not like she missed. Once you get to like 4 pounds and up, you're kind of a dickhead. Yeah,
like a Hamzat Shemaev type thing where he's like flexing on the scale.
Yeah.
8 pounds over, you're like, you're an idiot, dude.
But yeah, with the girls, like you just don't, especially after like someone had a seizure. Like, what if you found out like she has like brain issues now? Like,
exactly.
It's just such bad juju.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, for example, like your opponent's mom died and you start talking shit and be like, your mom would be so disappointed in you. It's along the same lines of like, you just don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay,
ever.
Didn't Holly Holm say that to Ronda Rousey after her, like when they were about to fight? She was talking shit about her dad.
No, maybe
Or
that
was it the other
Tate.
way? Someone was.
I think it was the other way.
talking-
It was the other way around.
Was Rhonda talking
Yeah.
about Holly's dad? Yeah.
Rhonda
so-
just was a dickhead
She was a-
too.
because
She
Holly
was.
Holmes fucking destroyed her in their
Yeah,
last
yeah.
match.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
and
they're
absolutely
only- yeah.
destroyed her.
The head kick that changed the world.
It
and then
literally,
Amanda Nunes fucking filled her face in.
yeah.
Crazy.
That was
I will say that was a very exciting time for women's MMA. How the
Yeah.
belt just kept going, and it's like the Misha Tate last second chokeout. Like
that was fucked.
That
up.
was so sick.
Yeah.
That was a great time for women's MMA. In all honesty.
So now, what UFC's coming up this coming weekend?
316, but I will say this. Let's see if the card stays the same because the UFC has a habit of once cards start getting busted, it happens in succession. It's just a bad luck thing. So Dana might be in
God.
for some bad luck. So we'll see if this whole main event ends up sticking together because when it rains, it pours for them.
Yeah, and Terry, we both chose what Robbie Ray Goff or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we both like. I thought that was gonna be a lock in, and yeah, he ended up getting fucking whipped.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
We that was one
Was
of because we both went 5-2.
Yeah, 5-2.
We both went 5-2, and we both had that loss on ours, and then
Season chicken.
yeah,
Clark fucking took me out, and then
Yeah.
that one.
yeah, because we had an interesting card here last week.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, like right now, Babs and I still are the only ones that have wins here. But I've pulled into the lead right now, so I'm up by 1. Terry has had a couple strong last episodes where he's moving up. He's
I'm
over
still
500.
pissed Rahil fucked me. Like, there's no getting around
Yeah,
that.
I'd
I'm
be pissed
still
too.
mad. I'm
Yeah.
actually so mad.
Yeah.
I'm the only person who's had a week like that.
I'm so mad at him. I'm taking him to a Forge game on Sunday to celebrate.
fuck
Being
you,
mad
dude.
at him.
Spitting his popcorn.
And so obviously we miss poor Rahil here today, so
Yeah.
he'll be back for the next episode. So we're actually
We're
I
actively
believe
seeking a new co-host, actually.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, Rahil got fired for missing the episode.
Yeah.
So we're gonna end up
Send your emails to
yeah.
Charlie, Babs, and Terry at sofakings.com.
We're gonna end up picking Rahil's challenge card for him today,
Mm-hmm.
and then he's gonna do his bet on the road
Yes.
for the episode. So so I think it's maybe time that we
Yes.
pull our parlay card, and
Grab-
today is
Charlie,
Charlie's
take us away.
time.
Grab that card.
Where is it?
right here, sir.
It's in front of the
Drinks.
cans. Their
Nice.
cans are too big.
They're truly too big.
Yeah. Oh God. Okay.
God damn it, dude. Who
All right.
invited this guy?
So parlay card. So we've got make a $2 bet on an make a $2 bet on an 8-leg parlay.
Okay.
So
That's
that
it.
is-
Simple.
That is our
Egg parlay. So
2
I
times
have,
8.
I have to get 4 more than Rahil to catch him.
yes. That is
Fuck.
good math, Terry.
All right.
So yeah. So I'm
Punishment idea for this this week is
yeah. So that's the
get
thing.
a cake of your choice.
when we all come back from the eavesdrop room, we're going to have to discuss because this is the last episode of season 1, month 1, and we're gonna have to discuss some discipline or consequences or punishment that one or all 3 losers or whatever we deliberate.
I think it's got to be the biggest loser.
Yeah. So I'm open for ideas, but yeah. So we've got a number of punishments that we got to talk amongst each other when we come back from the eavesdrop room. So that's it. I'm gonna
right.
go head
Charlie,
over, and
take
you
us away.
guys have to leave, and I'm gonna go into the secret room here. All right, we're back in first place, and we're back in the eavesdrop room. So we are set up here and rolling. And on the home screen, I got to pick my challenge card. Only bet against home teams. No cozy picks. So that is my card here today. And as we just picked over on the sofas, it is a $2 bet on an 8-leg parlay. Now, notoriously, I've been a little bit long in the eavesdrop room, as the Kings and even some audience members have commented. I will try and do my best here today, and I know for a fact there will be no timer screw up. So, all right, let's get started. So, no home teams. No home teams or players. Okay. the NBA would screw up because that would be our next episode. I think I'm going to have to do some props on this. So points and assist. Florida is the away team. So are we feeling like Kachuk hasn't been Verhaeghe though? We're taking Verhaeghe. Do I do the future Toronto Maple Leafs players in Sam Bennett? Or Reinhardt? We're going to go Barkey as well. So let's take Bennett here. So once again, we'll pick a couple extra and then we can always remove. Shots. Team to record the most shots. Oh, I can't take Edmonton. So Verhaeghe. So 1+ shots on goal in 60 minutes. Do I take Kachuk there? Marchand. Marchand has been a little bit slower at the beginning of the series. So, and same with Forsling. I'm not confident in Seth Jones right now. Lundell has been playing better ever since the Leaf series. So right now, let's just take Kachuk. So that gives us 5 of 8. Let's take a look here. I don't want to do... Let's take a peek at MLB. So I have to take away. So I could take the Tigers over the White Sox. Let's take a look at that in a second. A lot of home team not favorited. Francis hasn't been pitching that well for the Jays, and the Phillies have been playing pretty well. But the Jays are just coming off sweeping the Athletics, so I don't want to take that. Twins over the Athletics, they're coming off, getting swept from the Jays, as I just mentioned. But they are 32-26. So that is an interesting one as well. Let's take a look to see if I can take some Tigers. Let's take a look at the pitching props. So Flattery is a little bit more than 8 strikeouts a game. They're giving a 6.5. I might want to do the under on that. That might be one that I'm going to switch. I don't want to do home runs. I'm going to do hits. Let's take a look at Riley Green. Peaks and valleys for Riley Green. Gleyber Torres, not on a hot streak. Vargas, no. Dylan Dingler, what a fucking name. What a beauty. Javier Baez. Nope. Okay, so I'm not too confident in these. Okay, so we're currently at 7. So I want 2 more just in case. So let's see if there's a good team on the away. Mets and Dodgers, they've been playing well. Cubbies. I have been rocking pretty hard with the Orioles. Seattle is coming off a couple wins too. I've oddly been doing well with the Orioles this past weekend. So let's take a look. Oh, it's too far ahead. Damn. Okay. WNBA. Yeah, there's not a good favorite on the away. However, so typically when it's a player versus a player, it's usually like the bottom team is the home team. So like if I took Djokovic here, that would mean that technically he's the home player. So like, could I get away with that as a loophole? That's interesting. So I could take Yannick Sinner. And Mira Andreeva. So let's just hold that for a second. And let's go back to NBA, that's too far away, NHL. And let's take a look at let's go with points and assists again. So I can only take the away. Almost done here. Points. Let's go to shots. And let's go with Barkov. And okay, so we've got 11 in there right now. So now I could remove 3. So I don't like Bennett for points. I like Verhaeghe for points. And the question is, can I take the away player in a tennis match? So only bet against home teams. I think that's okay. Because it's always whoever versus whoever, and the bottom person is the home team. Or the bottom team is the home team. Like, I really think that's okay. So I don't think it's necessarily a loophole. Okay. So we got Verhaeghe, 1 point. Verhaeghe and Tkachuk and Barkov and Marchand, 1 shot. I have the Tigers beating the White Sox. Then I have Yannick Sinner and Andreeva, which are both the away players, and to win. And that's a $2 bet on an 8-leg parlay. So we have 8 legs, $2. Locking that in. There we go, baby. We are all set up. Let's go. Gotta win.
$2 8-leg parlay. Let's pull my challenge card. I'm close to first, so I gotta. Your parlay payout must exceed $300. So there's a way to do this, and I've actually thought about the potential of ending up with this card before. So this works out just fine. We now will hop through here, and I'll start. So with 8 legs, the way I'm gonna do this is I'm gonna have 7 very chalk legs, and then my last leg will be the one that really pushes the dollars. So I'll take something that I don't expect to hit, but if it does, we're in a good spot. So chalk, and then something risky. To start with chalk,
everyone's going to copy my same thing when we started doing the show with the shot props. We'll have a few available. Verhaeghe's easy shot prop. We're not even getting everybody available for 1+. I'm assuming McDavid, yeah, plus 530 for 2, but we won't even go there. That's one chalky leg so far. NBA won't be made available to us. WNBA will, though. I wonder who on the Fever. We've got race to 10 points. Okay, so we'll take Kelsey Mitchell 10+ points in the WNBA. That's tomorrow's slate, by the way. No Caitlin Clark. That's 2 legs. I'm mixing up the sports here briefly. CFL I can't touch. UFC I can't touch. Soccer. Thursday at 3 p.m. I can't take that. No Thursday games. Give me something earlier. Does the MLS have a break right now? They don't. Oh, they do. No MLS. That reduces me dramatically. I'll have stuff for Thursday, but not for today. We're going to have to get more in depth here with these 8 legs and go back to hockey. Matthew Tkachuk will take, and Nuge has been hot. That gets us to 4 legs. My payout right now, because I'm going to have to do a $2 bet to get us here. Yeah, 80 cents so far. So we're really low off of those legs, those first 4 legs. Who else can I touch? That'll be good. What's my risky payout for the NHL maybe? Or is it WNBA and Indiana getting smoked? Yeah. Weak slate to be trying to pull my strategy, unfortunately. First basket. Okay. Does first basket put us in a position? Elia Boston, first basket. Okay, so that does dramatically increase our payout with these legs. So I have 3 more legs to add here. And again, it just, end of the season, I have to add chalk. Hopefully Charlie ended up taking riskier pieces to his. I know my card's obviously gonna, I have a bad card. It's a hard card to work with. I know what I want to do on Thursday if I end up in a similar position. Baseball. We have had luck with baseball week in and week out. The A's just got absolutely crapped on, but they might bounce back. Dodgers against the Mets. Rockies, Marlins. Come on, give me Paul Skeens Day. Maybe we have Skeens go nuts against the Astros. No, see, I just have my lines and predicted starters. I don't have any props for that yet. Pirates money line would put us to, okay, we're getting there. I've got 4 chalky legs. And then, yeah. Marlins. And what happens if I say take the Dodgers too? Oh, I'm so close to 300 with that. Okay, I have space to work. Dodgers over the Mets. I need to then add, I can add like a 240. So we'll add the 240, and then I need to add something tighter than that. The Tigers game starts in 41 minutes, but that's fine. Who do the White Sox play tomorrow? Yeah, that's not going to be an option for me either, eh? We're really pulling at teeth here. This is such a tough card. NBA is Thursday night, right? Yeah, I can't make a play there. French Open. That leg gets us, yeah, that's not enough. Tennis, I wish I knew more about tennis. No, that's too much. Yeah, must exceed 300, so I got to play with my odds here. Is there point props? I know I'm loading up in the NHL, but Leon. So a $2.08 leg parlay with Leon Draisaitl to get a goal. How does this end up looking? Yeah, you know what? This probably isn't horrible. This probably isn't horrible. How's that saying that? $2 bet. No. Oh my God, was that saying? There's no way. Wait, when I close this down, what's it say my bet is at? A $10. No, I have to fucking redo this. Thank God I didn't place this in. I have to add more risky legs. Drysaitl's got to go out of there. I need to add a plus 1,000 to this. I didn't realize it was showing it based off of a $10 bet. Okay, we'll take that first basket out. Now I've got my chalky legs again, and now I have to add a ridiculous bet to get me over the hump and then re-add those legs. Fuck me. I'm gonna have to potentially, let's find a giant tennis underdog. If there even is one, there's not. What about the men's matches? 1,400. There we go. So we're, yeah. I'm not going to be able to go. I have to redo this whole parlay. I can't add the chalk players into this. NHL. We'll go Oilers win game 1. MLB. We'll go yeah, this changes everything. Damn it. We'll just pick MLB favorites. Then another one, 7 legs at $10. So then that will tell me when I go back in here and try and put a parlay in 60. So now I have to add a crazy favorite. I've added some chalk. Now I've not even chalk. Those are just regular wagers. Now I have to add an insane favorite in the next slate here because we have Phillies. Yeah, so I have to add something big to balance this out. Plus 1,400. I mean, if this hits, I'm a genius. 8 legs, minus. But maybe I can get away with a 600 or something. Tommy Paul. Let's Tommy Paul make the bet. No, I can go even better than that. Plus 330 tomorrow. 8 legs, $2. No. Tommy Paul. So I have to go for like a plus 450 leg. Or does this 375 get me there? Yep, okay. That actually puts me right in position. So a $2 8-leg bet. Cancel. I'll take this. And because Rahil is doing his remotely this time, guys, challenge card, I'm pulling Rahil's for him. You can only make MLB-based bets for Rahil. That's probably going to be outside of his wheelhouse, so he may not love this.
What's up, guys? It's Rahil here. I am in New York City right now. It's 11 p.m. at night, but I still got to make my bets. I have to make a $2 bet on an 8-leg parlay, and I have to do it with only MLB bets. That's what the guys drew for me. Honestly, I'm feeling pretty good here. My strategy with this was to make sure that like my bets had the most chances to hit because I don't want Terry passing me. I want to avoid all those punishments. I want him to finish last. So we are going to be taking the Marlins over the Rockies plus 3.5 runs. So that's obviously a huge favorite there. And that's going to be a trend going forward. We got the Pirates over the Houston Astros plus 3.5 runs as well. We got the Astros as well getting over 1.5 runs in the game as well. There are a couple games where I kind of combined the two because it had to be 8 legs and I really didn't want to go for teams that were like like minus 120, minus 130 to win. I wanted to go for the heavy favorites and just get like, either plus runs, like so like they could either lose by 3 or less or win, or get the over runs as well, because then, obviously the Astros are going to get over 1.5 runs probably. Aside from that, I have the Yankees over the Guardians plus 3.5 runs. I have the Yankees also getting over 1.5 runs in that game. I have the Dodgers over the Mets plus 3.5 runs. I have the Dodgers getting more than 2.5 runs in that game. And I have Francisco Lindor getting 1+ hit. So $2 bet, we're winning just over $4 there. Again, I'm playing it super safe because it's the final, it's the final one for the month. I don't want to be in last place. I know I have a good lead over Terry, but I want to make sure I solidify my 3rd place, maybe 2nd place spot. So we are not finishing last year. Hopefully all these bets hit, but I'm fairly confident most of them will hit.
Make a $2 bet on an 8-leg parlay. This kind of sucks, I'm not going to lie. Between you and me, I got to go perfect this week if I'm going to even catch up to Rahil. Kind of sucks. Oh, my challenge card is... Oh my God. Bet however you want, but you must stay within the rules of the parlay card. Holy shit, I needed this. Oh, I needed this. All right, here we go. I'm doing what I've been doing, and I'm just going to go into, like, weird shit. I'm going back to cricket, and I'm going to... Here we go. The England women's. I love that. Okay. Oh, my God. This is actually... I love this right now. I'm taking so much random shit. Anything that's guaranteed. Oh, my God. I have a chance. All right, let's go to MLB and just see if there's anything. You know what? Screw it. I'm going back to, like, what do we got here? Let's check boxing. Minus 5,000. I like that a lot. Minus 8,000, even another. Oh, my God. All right, who am I taking? I'll say if these minus 8,000s lose, I will off myself in Minecraft or whatever, GTA. Okay, Jai Opataya, Toyoma Suboi, hello. Sam Gilly, okay. All right, I'm at 4. Let's go soccer. I don't want MLS. Is there anything? No. No. Women's games. All right, minus 4,000. I like that. I like it a lot. I genuinely need to win this. I can't just fuck myself. That's the issue. So I've got to take almost guarantees, things that are sure to happen. Table tennis. Oh, that's live. I was the one bitching about betting on live things. Oh my God, the table tennis sucks. Volleyball? Okay. Okay. So Germany women and China women. Are the Belgian women just that bad? I could potentially take Poland women. I win 48 cents if all these hit, but this is what I need to get back in this game, in all honesty. my lowest odds are the -16. That's actually amazing. All right. I think I'm locking this one in. $2. 8 legs. 48 cents. All right. I just want to catch Rahil.
Guys, card-wise, I got screwed. My legs were fine with 8, but it had to go over $300, so I had to change my strategy
On a $2 bet.
on a $2 bet, and I was walking through, so it had to be plus 15,000 just about. And I made it the first time, and I put my dollar amount in to start, so I couldn't screw up.
Right.
But it actually doesn't reflect that. It will always reflect a $10 wager.
Yeah.
So I had to reset and go through all of mine. So I, at the end of this, was really struggling to find something. So I went back to tennis. I've got all MLB money lines. I've got the Oilers money line, and then betting against the guy who won me my tennis bet this last week.
That's wild.
Plus 375 underdog.
Right.
Okay.
That's a long. That took so long in there. I was flustered. That's a hard card to get.
Yeah, off a $2 8-leg bet.
Yeah, if it was an $8 bet, I'd go like I can function but
Easily.
A $2, you're just
You're begging for problems.
yeah.
That's actually so unfortunate because I got an advantage card.
We haven't had one in a fucking minute.
Finally, I didn't get bent over. I could do anything I wanted to. Legitimately anything.
So your card was like you.
just have fun. It just said have a good time.
Wow,
So
that's lucky.
my $2 bet wins me a whopping 48 cents. So
you
me
went-
and
Jesus
me and Nick are
Christ.
going on vacation, right? We talked about this. My worst odds are minus 1,600 for women's cricket.
That's
I-
your
I'm
worst odd.
Yeah. I'm going back to England over the West Indies. I took a couple boxing matches. Minus 5,000, Sam Gilly. Tamoy Suboy, minus 8,000. Another minus 8,000 in Jai Opataya.
God, I'm gonna have to start looking at some of this cricket shit.
Bro. And then I went to volleyball. So I've got women's USA over Jamaica. That's another minus 4,000.
Jamaica Mun.
Germany over South Korea. That's minus 4,500. And then China women over the Belgian women. Another minus 45. And the Poland women over Thailand.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, you got in a position where you could just try and rack wins.
Exactly.
I know you would get rack a parlay win as well. Your dollars would be the potential issue.
Yeah,
Right now he's just trying to get wins. Fuck the dollars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get back.
So you need at least Rahil to go 50-50 to tie,
yes.
and for you to go 100%,
yes.
which you have a legitimate chance. Like you've been
Yes.
your last week and a half of betting has brought you back
significantly improved.
Now hear
From
me out.
death.
What if the void bug bites you?
Oh.
Somehow one of these matches like can't be played or like it rains out. Does that happen in beach volleyball? I'm assuming rainouts are a thing.
I don't know. Is it beach volleyball?
I just assumed it was beach volleyball. I don't know why.
However, way to pick beach volleyball because that's a nice fucking one to watch for
True,
women's
true.
sports.
Yeah.
Good for
Charlie,
you.
did you have anything fun?
Yeah, I don't know what you picked for because we had to pick for Rahil because he's in New York as we mentioned
Yes.
earlier in the
Mhm.
podcast. So I don't know if you want to mention Rahil first. So
MLB only for him, and we will get his we got his update. He sent it in live from New York, or not live, but whatever.
it's gonna be John Liu, TSN, New York.
Yeah, exactly.
The MLB only, he could just be taking like
Minus
you know
4,000
Bryce
again.
Harper to take a hit,
Yeah.
shit like that, where you're like, oh.
Yeah, so
fuck
he.
me.
Yeah, it's too bad. If you got an advantage card to screw somebody, you would have
Yes.
been screwing Rahil.
Oh,
but-
without a doubt, I wouldn't even have thought twice.
yeah.
Yeah. So I had a pretty interesting one here. So I realized because I wanted to go to NBA, but NBA is late Thursday.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was like, I guess none of us can take NBA.
Mm-hmm.
So my challenge card was that I had to pick everything had to be away.
Mm.
So whether away team, so no home cozy picks is what I got. So I was like, all right, NHL, like I'm gonna take Edmonton in the first, so I can't take them, right? So I was like, all right, well let's look at the props. So I was like, can't do NBA, can't do the Oilers. So I was looking through the NHL props. So I've got like Verhaeghe to get a point,
Okay.
and then I've got 4 Florida players from Verhaeghe, Kachuk, Barkov, and Marchand to get a shot on net.
Just one shot each.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Then I went to the MLB. I've got the Detroit Tigers over the White Sox. So very easy. And then here's a little bit of my loophole. So you know how when you're looking at teams or players or whatever, it'll say, Detroit Tigers versus Chicago White Sox. So whoever's that bottom team is the home team. So I was like, all right, I'm going to look at tennis. Because like there's, your your away player and your home player. Every single one is home and away, right? Because that's what it is. And so I took the away players in Yannick Sinner and Mira Andreeva.
That is not a thing in tennis. You're never the
Yeah,
home
I don't know
player.
about that
I'm
one,
calling baloney.
But that's anytime you have a home team, they're always listed at the bottom.
I know, but when it comes to like the UFC, you would never say like, oh, he's the home fighter tonight.
But if he's from the country, yes, it would be.
But are they?
Are they
You actually
performing in their
almost
home
just
country?
proved my point, because almost exclusively in boxing and UFC, the home person will always be listed at the bottom of the card because it's their nation or their country that they're fighting for, and especially if the fucking event is in that country.
I'm gonna push back on that. No, UFC, whoever's the higher ranked fighter is at the bottom.
Yeah.
No.
Or the champion.
100%.
No.
That's how
and
that's how they walk out.
Not in
everything.
boxing.
Boxing, I can't speak of, but UFC,
yeah.
the higher ranked fighter will be the bottom one.
I don't think
Wait, this has not been discussed. And I'm taking what is perceived, and if you look at any betting platform, it's always away versus home.
Should we ask AI right now what its opinion is on this? An impartial party?
No.
An impartial
'Cause
AI.
why would
I like
AI
that.
have any vote on our show?
Because it'll give us a good idea of
AI is
like,
our fourth host.
if we believe that what you're saying is something accepted generally.
I'll ask this, and you have to be unbiased and answer it. Whenever you see a team or whatever, is it true that the bottom one is always home?
No, in soccer, they do it differently. It's the opposite way. With
The majority.
Yes. I'm going to give him the
in
yes.
European soccer, though, it's the other way.
Well, we're fucking Canadian, buddy.
Yeah, dude, we're not
I'm
European.
a worldwide sports watcher.
I just said he doesn't have his passport. He's
Hey,
Mr. Worldwide.
I'm supporting Canada by not having a passport.
So for Mr. Loophole that you've gotten away on a number of fucking things.
I've never gotten away with any of my loopholes.
Mr. Worldwide.
I don't know. I still think the Scotty Scheffler thing in an event starting. Either way, it hasn't come up. It was an interesting situation. And I even spoke in the eavesdrop room to the audience saying it's always home or away versus home.
That's
Okay, so there is no home versus away in most tennis matches. These exist only in team-based national competitions or indirectly through crowd support and comfort level.
I think
Producer
you're
Nick
not
coming
on-
in with
you're-
the heat.
Nick's not here on set, so you don't.
Charlie,
get
I
a vote.
hate to be that guy. However, in that situation, I do feel, because I had that card before, and I would have just gone, that doesn't apply to this sport. It would have had to be home and away sports where they're playing at a home arena. There's no home arenas in tennis.
I think it's an interesting question when Rahil gets back on Thursday.
Yeah.
My vote.
I'm not saying that it's a perfect solution. I'm saying that in most sports, and especially betting platforms,
Terry, back me up.
it's home versus away, or away versus home, right? And I didn't take it.
Okay, well,
I
while
think you're
I
taking 3
absolutely
Ls
agree
this
with
next
you.
week.
Why would
I
it be
think
3
we're
L's?
Team
It's only 2.
producer Nick right now. Let's go, Nick.
Yeah.
Babs is just making this because I'm only 1 point up on him right now.
I mean, hey, 1
So,
point up.
I just love chaos.
And
I've got no
I've
legs.
never had
You're
to
only
fight
making the
for a point
argument
yet
because
in
you're
my life,
ahead.
and I'm not screwing up. It was something that I acknowledged on eavesdrop, and I brought it forthright to the group. And
I mean, let's just say I think those are voided legs.
well,
Yeah, Charlie might have a 3 beside his 17.
No,
next
I don't
week.
no,
think
he said they're voided, so they
because
don't count
how
as
it's worked-
losses, Nick.
How it's worked when
it won't
everybody
be a
else
loss, but
fucked
it's
up
just
the
not a
last
win.
3 times is
I-
everybody
it's true,
took
we did take Ls
their
for fuck
fuck
ups.
We did
up,
actually
so
do
he's
that.
gonna
They
take
Well,
an L
yes.
for his fuck
Losers.
up.
We said that now, but we know on Thursday when we come back, we were all discussing what was happening with void. I don't care if you want to call it a loss or a void. Like, to me, I was advocating that a void should be called out as a loss. So I'm not concerned. But see how Mr. fucking loophole
Well, no,
over here.
A push is not a loss. I brought this up at work, and they all went, "No, that's just not right." So, I mean, it's just not the case.
It's tough.
A
because
push is a push.
We talked about this outside where if you have a voided leg, you could still win that card.
Yeah.
So imagine if you have 3 voids on a card, but you win.
I don't disagree with it. I'm just saying I put up my viewpoint.
Yeah.
And I've listened to everybody, and I don't care if it's whether a loss or a void or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's
So I think
baloney.
everybody should take a loss. So I vote for that
So
personally.
I think we've got. So we'll follow up further with my shit on Thursday after all the bets
Yes.
come through and all that. But maybe they lose anyway. So
Right.
it's.
leave a comment down below what you think should happen.
Yes. Quick hits. I have Oilers game 1. What about you?
I've got Florida game 1.
Okay, what about you?
Oilers.
Okay, so we're split that way. NBA, I have Pacers.
OKC.
I have OKC.
Okay, well, I'm the contrarian on that one. You're the
Yep.
contrarian with your Florida bet. Finals
Ooh.
game 1s. They're going to take the whole month, so we've got the whole month to talk about them because they spread out the schedule.
That's right.
I'm not upset about that personally.
I don't like it.
No, it gives us more time to
I
talk
like to
about
finish
things.
quick.
Yeah,
No.
it should finish quick.
I disagree. I think especially the finals, dragging it out a little bit longer.
So
Just
what is
more-
it, like 2 games a week or what?
Sometimes
every
yeah.
other day. I
Yeah,
think
no, it's not every other.
it's not every
NHL,
other
they're
day.
gonna have it's supposed to be every other day,
Or no,
and then a
every,
travel
like,
day.
2 days, yeah.
But they're gonna have between games 3 and 4 in the NHL, they're gonna have a 2-day break for no reason.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Really?
Yeah.
I hate it.
Unless you're trying to hit like a Sunday night game, like I understand that, but if it's for no reason, then it
It
shouldn't.
doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me, but yeah.
And I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
caught this because the Yankees versus the Dodgers on the weekend played like 2 powerhouses that could legitimately be in the World Series.
Mhm.
I actually have them on like future bet as well. But it's the first time ever that 3 MVPs have played on both teams against each other in the history of MLB.
That's actually
So like you've
amazing.
got Judge, Goldschmidt, and who's the other one for the
Bellinger?
Yankees? Who?
Bellinger.
Yeah, Bellinger, and then for the Dodgers, it's Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and
Morgan Freeman.
No,
Yeah.
Marcus Freeman. No, Marcus Freeman.
Morgan Freeman.
Marcus Freeman, right?
No,
Freddie Freeman.
Freddie Freeman. Thank you. Yeah, so it's just interesting. Like
Close relation.
they were great games. I don't know if you guys caught any of it,
Nope.
but like I think the Yankees went 2-1. I could be wrong on that, but it was just a great series overall, and tons of home runs. And I think it's just a cool thing when you have 3 MVPs on both teams for the first time in 50 something plus years.
Yeah, well,
Like, that's wild.
Yes, that's cool, but also that just goes to show that like the salary cap in baseball.
Yeah, and the Dodgers are just spending into the luxury
You
tax.
know what I mean? It's stupid.
a lack of parity, but we have 3 MVPs on the couch and 1 not here.
True.
So that's his. So thanks for Rahil not being here. It was actually a pleasure just having the whole couch to myself. But we will see you on the next episode of Sofa Kings. I cannot speak tonight. And we're live from Bigman Studios in Kitchener, Ontario, where the Call of Duty Championships is coming here in the next couple weeks. And we will catch you in the next episode. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And also tell us, are we a whole bunch of idiots for our bets? And should I win for my tennis picks, heading into the next episode?